Did you know that your brain has a default mode? Well, we're going to talk about it today, and then we're going to talk about how you can upgrade your brain and personalize your brain settings so that you can achieve the results that you want in your life. So, your brain has more than 1 million stimulus coming in every day. And because it's so much information, your brain has to do something and it prioritizes. Out of all the stimulus coming in, it looks at what it thinks is most important to you. That's why you don't actually notice the way your shirt feels against your back or the way your shoes are feeling against your feet unless there's something wrong. If you have something itching in it, then you'll notice it. Otherwise, your brain is trained to tune those details out and focus on what is most important. And what is most important to your brain? Staying alive. And this is what we call the motivational triad. This is your brain's way of keeping you alive. Now, when your brain is prioritizing the information and coming in, it filters all the things out it thinks are unnecessary and focuses mostly on 3 things. This is your brain's default mode. It looks for things that might cause pain, it looks for things that will give you pleasure, and it looks for things that create ease. And it has really good reasons for doing these 3 things. For example, if something is painful, oftentimes it could be dangerous. So historically, if you ate something and then you had a painful stomach ache, then your brain knew to prioritize that information and to not eat that food again because it might be dangerous, it might kill you. So it also applies to emotional pain because historically that could be dangerous as well. For example, if you got in an argument with somebody in your tribe and then they kicked you out of the tribe, you might have to go out into the wilderness on your own and you might not survive that. So any kind of pain, your brain is on the lookout for to make sure that it stays away from it so you can survive. And it does that by looking for what's wrong in the world. So your brain default is to look around you and see everything that's wrong because it's a potential threat. And like I said, you can see historically how this was beneficial. But your brain hasn't caught up to modern society where we're not really in danger very often. Occasionally we are, but it's pretty rare. So your brain still gives you these signals like you might die, you might die, you might die. You have to pay attention for all of the painful things and avoid them. The other thing it looks for is pleasure. And historically, pleasure was found in activities that were either good for our own personal survival or for the survival of our species as a whole. Take food, for example. If we came across a bunch of fruit and ate a bunch, we would feel a lot of pleasure. That pleasure was a signal to us that this was good for us. And so do more of that, more. And it would help keep you alive and survive. Again, your brain hasn't caught up with modern society. We have lots of concentrated pleasures that still feel pleasurable to us, but actually aren't very good for us in the long run. So this is another area that our brain programming could use an upgrade. And the last one is ease. It makes sense that your brain liked things to be easy for a couple of reasons. One is because if things are easy, then you can conserve energy. Either walking outside, you take the easiest path, or internally thinking the same thoughts. Either way, you're conserving energy by not having to walk an extra few miles or by not having to create a new neural pathway in your brain. Your brain wants to conserve energy for when it really needs it in case it does come under threat and needs energy to survive. Ease is also a sign to your brain of comfort and that everything is safe and okay. So your brain looks for this and tries to find ease everywhere. So, knowing that about your brain, I want you to give yourself some grace, right? Of course, your brain wants to avoid pain. Of course, your brain is seeking pleasure. And of course, your brain wants things to be easy. So, if you ever find yourself in those situations, be kind to yourself. All right, your brain is designed that way. That is the default mode it came on. But the good news is we can upgrade our brain. We can make it fit in modern society. And how do we do that? We have this amazing thing called a prefrontal cortex. It's unique to us as humans, and it has all kinds of amazing functions, but one of the things that it does is it helps us look at our other thoughts and examine them and evaluate them. Your prefrontal cortex is going to be your key to overriding this default mode. And we want to do that because imagine you just got your first iPhone and you brought it home and you left it exactly on the default settings it came with. You never added an app, you never changed a ringtone, nothing. You just kept it exactly how it was. Then you wouldn't be using the phone to its utmost capabilities, right? You'd be missing out on so much that phone could do for you by just leaving it in default mode. Now your brain is the same way. You can survive in default mode. Your brain is hardwired for your survival. But in modern society where we're not constantly under threat and where we have things that are pleasurable and easy that don't benefit us, then you're not running up to your utmost capabilities, right? So we want to examine how we can improve that brain function, how we can move from default mode to an upgraded program, and then even customize some of our own individual settings for what we feel like is most important for us to accomplish in our life. I'm sure when you were younger, you played the game I Spy. And somebody would say, I spy with my little eye something blue. And then all of a sudden, you're looking around the room and you see all the blue things. Now, those are things your brain had filtered out as unimportant before, so you didn't notice them. But as soon as you give your brain something to focus on, you direct it consciously, then all of a sudden you see the blue things. You've just told your brain what is important to look for. And this is how you override your default mode with anything else as well. You choose consciously what you want to focus on. And when you focus on something, it expands and grows bigger. So we don't want to focus on the painful things because then we feel so much pain and so much anguish in our life, right? But we want to focus on other things, things that serve us, because then those things expand and grow too. So choose what you are focused on. And there's a few different ways to do that, but there's one thing I wanted to talk about, and that's gratitude. I don't think it's any surprise that most religions and spiritual practices have some sort of gratitude practice. Why? Because it's moving away from the default setting of looking for pain to avoid and pleasure to seek and ease to have, and it's looking instead for all the great things that's happening already in your life, which is awesome to notice those. It creates an entirely different feeling inside of you when your brain is focused on that instead. So gratitude is a great way to refocus your brain. But you get to decide what are the things you want to focus on. Think about it. Really pay attention to what's important to you, what you feel like helps you and serves you in your life, and focus on those. What are the things that will help you fulfill your unique life's mission? Your brain is capable of so much more than just avoiding pain, seeking pleasure, and finding ease. Especially when these things sometimes interrupt what we really want to do. But we can override that. It takes practice. Of course, your brain is always going to offer these three motivations to you. It's your default mode, so it's going to keep coming. But the more you practice overriding those, with higher motivations, then the better you'll get at it. And the better you get at it, the more you'll be able to accomplish in your life. So you choose. What kind of brain do you want to have? Do you want to have that basic default brain? Or do you want a brain that's going to take you to amazing places to accomplish amazing, wonderful things? Upgrade your brain, change your focus, and see where it takes you.